Happy Monday, everybody. It is Thursday, March 26th, when I'm recording this video. And you should be watching this on Monday if you get it on time or some point next week. So just a quick heads up, kind of what the week looks like. You're going to be watching this video, and there's going to be a Google form attached to it. It's going to be about 4 questions for you to work on, and then I'll give you some feedback on that. On Tuesday, your lesson will look pretty similar to the material. Basically, what you'll do is you're going to get 10 questions, just basic questions, like a worksheet. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is when you finish that, take a screenshot of it or of some sort and upload it into Google Classroom. We'll get there a little bit further. Wednesday, we're going to have a quizzes. There'll be about 10 to 12 questions. Again, just trying to give you some feedback. That one's going to be over factoring quadratic equations, but instead of being factoring, it's going to be using the quadratic formula. Okay, I'll kind of keep that up all week though, so everybody can view it. Thursday is going to be a discussion board. That's all it's going to be. I'm going to prompt a question, and then you're going to respond to that question, and then respond to one of your classmates' responses. Just working on some college skills here. And then Friday, just like a lot of our tests, it's going to be some review star questions for you to kind of see if you've mastered these skills. So I'll upload everything on Monday. Obviously, you'll have it now when you get it. You can work at it at your own pace, but everything will be due to me Friday at midnight, okay? So that's kind of where we're at. As you can see, my dogs are tired. I don't know if you can see the other one, but they are conked out, just taking a little nap. So let's do this, and hope you guys are doing well. Miss you guys. Wish we were back in school, but here we are. All right, I'll get started in just a second. Okay, so we're going to be jumping back into factoring quadratic equations. I know I said we finished that while we were in class, but being that we are not in school right now, I wanted to give you something that you'd seen before to kind of help with the transition into this, and then we can start some new material next week. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So question 1, we're just trying to figure out what are the x-intercepts? What are the roots? What are the zeros? What are the ordered pairs when my x value is equal to 0? So that's all it is. So right here, I've got these 2 equations already, so these ones are super simple. All you've got to do is just take these individual binomials, set them equal to 0, isolate the variable, and that's going to give us our answer. So for instance, this first one's going to be k plus 1 equals 0, k minus 5 equals 0. And if you're clever, you should know it's just going to be the opposite, but if you don't understand what I mean by that, subtract 1 from both sides, and you find that k is equal to -1, add 5 to both sides, and you find that k is equal to 5. So if I wanted to write these out as ordered pairs, it's going to be 0, -1, and 0, 5. And so what that means is if you were drawing your parabola, so I'm just going to do just a rough sketch real quick. We're going to have one here at -1 and one over here at 5. And so that means that our parabola is going to do something like this. Maybe it goes down. I don't know what the a value is, but in some capacity you can see that that's where they would cross the x-axis is. All right, number 2. A little more difficult. I think you guys should be okay with them, but I at least want to recover it. So we've got to get this over here, this side equal to 0. That's the whole purpose. When x is equal to 0 is when we're solving for. So the way we do that is, since this is a -5, the inverse operation is going to be to add 5 to both sides. Now when I'm adding 5 to both sides, I cannot add the 5 to the x squared because those are unlike terms. I cannot add the 5 to the -11x, those are unlike terms. I've got to add it to the 19 because neither one of those have variables. So if I rewrite this problem, it's going to be x squared minus 11x, and then it's going to be plus 24. Okay, from here we're going to multiply 1x squared by 24, which is going to give me 24. Now I've got to list out all my factors that give me 24. So we're going to have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 5 does not, and then I'm back to 6, so I'm good. At this point, we're trying to figure out which 2 of these, if I add them together, will end up giving me a -11x. Since this is a negative number and this is a positive number, we know that both of these numbers are going to have to be a negative, because a negative times a negative is what gives me a positive. Well, so this is either going to give me 25 or 23. That doesn't work. This is either going to give me 14 or 10. This one gives me 11 or 5. There's 11, and this is either 10 or 2. So when I rewrite this, it's going to be x squared minus 3x minus 8x plus 24. And again, just to reiterate what I've done here, negative 3x minus 8x, if I add those together, I get negative 11x. So I haven't changed the value of the problem, I've just made it longer. Now I'm going to break these both up into binomials. And when we break something up into a binomial, essentially what we're trying to do now is factor it out to its lowest form. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what can we divide both of these numbers by and pull out of that. Since this is 1x squared, I can't pull any numerical numbers out of here because 1 is the smallest term it can be. However, they both have x's, so I can divide this side by x and this by x, pulling out the x, and leave with me 1x because x divided by x, if we go back to our exponent rules, we actually subtract these, and that leaves me with just a positive x up top here. Minus 3 because x divided by x is x minus x, which becomes 0. So I've now got x pulled out of x minus 3. And if you weren't sure if you did that right and you wanted to just check your work, you could redistribute this. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Okay? Over here, I cannot pull an x from both of these numbers because only the first term in this binomial has a variable. This one does not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both of these sides by the smallest number I can. I'm sorry, the largest number I can. They're both divisible by 2, but obviously I can do more out of the 8. They're both divisible by 4, but I can also divide negative 8 and positive 24 by a negative 8. Well, negative 8 divided by negative 8 is going to give me an x. I'm going to write my negative 8 on the side over here. 24 divided by a negative 8 is going to give me a negative 3. Now, I told you guys this in class. I just want to make sure you're seeing it again. If both your binomials come out to be the exact same, you've done it right. If these two binomials are different, then something's off. So since we both have x minus 3, we're in a good spot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take x minus 3, which is going to be our first binomial. And then we're going to take the two terms that we pulled out, the x and the negative 8. And that's going to become our second binomial. So at this point, these are the two binomials, just like we had in problem number 1. But now we've got to set these equal to 0 to figure out what they actually come out to be. So it's going to be x minus 3 equals 0, x minus 8 equals 0. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, why are we setting it equal to 0? Well, the reason we're setting it equal to 0 is, number 1, we're trying to figure out what is the x-intercept. Number 2, when I added 5 to both sides up here, negative 5 plus 5 becomes a 0. So I could have just literally made this become equal to 0. And so these could still be equal to 0 down here. Okay? Plus 3 gives me x is equal to 3. Plus 8 gives me x is equal to 8. And so that would be the two answers for that one right there. Cool. All right, on this next one, I'll do my best not to over-explain it and belittle the point. I'll try to go a little bit quicker for you, but we'll go from there. So 7r squared minus 14r is equal to negative 7. We're going to add 7 to both sides. Notice that there's no like terms over here, so I cannot add 7 to either one of these numbers. It's just going to become its own separate thing. So we're going to have minus 14r plus 7 equals, like I just mentioned, 0. Okay, from here, we're going to just follow the same steps. Term A times term C, which is going to give me 49. Okay, we're going to have 1 times 49. 2 does not work. 3, 33, 36. Nope, that does not work. 4 does not work. 5 does not work. 6 does not work. But lucky for us, we get 7 times 7. Okay, again, since this is positive and this is negative, both of these numbers have to be negative. So we're going to have 7r squared minus 7r minus 7r plus 7 equals 0. So once again, I just want to show you what we've done. Negative 7r minus 7r is going to give you negative 14r. From here, we're going to just bracket these off real quick. Right here, I can pull out a 7r. Here's a 7. Here's a 7. Here's an r. Here's an r. That's going to leave me with r minus 1. R minus 1, I believe. Yep. And then over here, we're going to pull out a negative 7 over here, and that's going to leave me with r minus 1 again. Now, I want to show you something here. This is a positive number, but since I'm dividing by a negative 7, positive 7 divided by a negative 7, a positive divided by a negative is going to give you a negative answer. And 7 divided by 7 is 1, so that's where we're at. So here's where we're at now. We're going to have r minus 1 and 7r minus 7 for our two binomials here. Okay? Now, I want you to see something. R minus 1 is super easy. Plus 1, r equals 1. Okay, we're all good with there. I don't think we have any issues on that one. Over here, though, we've got 7r minus 7 equals 0. It's a two-step. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. Now I've got 7r is equal to 7. Well, now I've just got to divide both of these by 7, and what do you know? R equals 1. So what this is telling me is if both of my x-intercepts are going to be at the same point, and that means that it's not going to be the actual line of the parabola crossing through there. That means that my axis, where my 2 points cross, are going to be at that spot that r equals 1. So I'm only going to have one solution for this particular one. Again, that's a very quick, weak drawing of it. I just wanted you to see that since we share that for both points, that means that every time x is equal to 0, it's going to cross that point, and it's going to be the same spot. We can't have two lines for this particular problem taking up the same spot. Okay, and last one. We're going to add 3 to both sides. 6b squared minus 13b plus 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 1 and 36. 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. And 6 and 6. Okay, positive, negative, so both of these have to be negative. Nope, that's going to give me 20 or 16. 15 or 9. There we go. So we're going to have 6b squared minus 9b minus 4b plus 6. And it doesn't matter the order you write these numbers in, because since we're adding them together, adding it doesn't matter the order. From there, we're going to bracket these off. Let's pull out a 3b here. And that's going to give me 2b minus 3. 2b minus 3. And then over here, I'm going to pull out a negative 2, which is going to leave me with 2b minus 3 again. These two check out. So we've got 3b minus 2 and 2b minus 3. We want to set both of those equal to 0. Add 2 to both sides. 3b is equal to 2. Divide both sides by 3. And today is your lucky day. I'm going to allow you to leave your answer as a fraction just like that. Don't worry about converting to a decimal. And then for the next one, we're going to have 2b minus 3 equals 0 plus 3 plus 3. 2b is equal to 3. Divide both sides by 2, and b equals 3 over 2. Okay, so those would be the 2 points that we would cross the x-intercept at. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope this video made sense. Hope it was a good refresher, good reminder. If you got any questions, send them to me. Email, Remind, Google, however you can get a hold of me. I would much appreciate it. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.